Yep. Good morning. Coffee Conversations with Greg J is on. How y'all be? New week, Tuesday morning. Lots going on in this world. Wow, just really been reflecting on what's happening around our, universe. Because you can't even say universe anymore. You got to say metaverse. Okay, but hey, thank y'all if y'all came out this past weekend. If you're in the beautiful city of Long Beach, California, where we originate Coffee Conversations with Greg J. We did the Long Beach Art Walk. It was off the chain, had open conversations with the director of the entire parks, recreation, marine, and animal care. That was really cool. Brent Dennis came through. We talked about his vision for the beautiful city of Long Beach and the Parks and Recs area. We also talked to Kelvin Anderson, VIP Records, historic music cultural icon. So we talked about the history of that fantastic entity there, and it was really, really cool. Had some great musical performances from the Long Beach Jazz Angels. So just keep following us. You see what we do. We got a lot going on all around our community where we are, and indeed all around all of the in all around the all around the entire city. I'm very surprised to see Micah in the chat there. That's what got me stuttering. And that's something. Good morning, Micah. Good to see you here. Listen, you guys have been hearing so much about our financial freedom. I always say on this program that we're in the middle of a cultural revolution, indeed. And I guess a foundation of revolution would be our economic freedom. Don't forget about our finances. So, all in the recent times, we've been hearing about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency and NFTs, and now the metaverse. Facebook changed their name. It's Meta. So we're Meta Live, not Facebook Live, Meta Live. And that's something? Wow. Well, over there in Dream Creator Studio, got an expert in these here parts. So let's bring her on in to kind of figure it all out because, I'm just getting a education by osmosis is what I'm getting, just being around it right here. Good morning, Rhonda Love, super producer.
Good morning. How are you, sir?
Doing all right over here in the metaverse.
It's a good place to be.
Good place to be. Right? Yes. So, Rhonda, before we bring our esteemed guest on, you are all things metaverse, crypto, Bitcoin, Ethereum, just all of them. Just they just need to have a blockchain just named after Rhonda Love is what I think. What is cryptocurrency?
So, cryptocurrency, you know what? That's a really huge question. And I would love to save that one for our esteemed guest. What I will share with you is let me give you the building blocks that lead up to that portion of it. And she can just kill it when she comes in on that portion. But so blockchain is essentially ledger. It's ledger in the digital space and the blockchains in the digital space. My background, a lot of people don't know this about me, but when I was in college studying film over at Cal State LA and then to UCLA, I worked at Xerox and I was an engineer there. I was a software and test engineer there and learned all the different codes, JavaScript, PCL, HTML, PostScript, all of that back then while I was in school. And so I when there was DOS and then Web 1.10 and then Web 2.0 and now here we are with Web 3.0. And so I've always just been in this space right out of high school since the 80s. I'm telling my age. But so it was a real easy adaptation for me with Web 3.0 and just kind of seeing this is the new frontier of the internet. And so, there you have the blockchain being built out, which is basically, ledgers. And so on the blockchain, you have, Bitcoin, the Bitcoin blockchain, you have You got Ethereum, one of the block. There's lots of blockchains that are out there now. Our Solana is out there as well, and then on top of those blockchains, we're able to build out cryptocurrency in the metaverse, and we're able to build out, what is it, decentralized automated organizations, and just all of this amazing stuff that's happening, virtual reality, augmented reality, the whole face of our ecosystem as we know it in the coming years, and already is changing, and it's going to change even more. So I'm just crazy excited about it. It was just a natural gravitation for me to see everything that's happened with regards to everything on the blockchain development.
All right. Well, that's a beautiful thing. Let's look around here. We have our special guest we're going to bring in now, with you. And then another, like you always say, you're a big brain sister. Found another big brain around here. Boy, not enough room for me, ladies and gentlemen. Najah Roberts is here. Good morning.
Good morning. Rhonda seems like she's got the biggest brain of them all.
Yay, Najah.
She's been in the right place at the right time since we left high school. I'll say it that way. Because when you said the 80s, that means I left high school at the same time as you. I just took another roundabout turn to get me to where I'm at today. So big ups to you and all that you've done in the space and since the 80s, making sure that our community is following us all the way up to this point. So excited to be here. Greg J, thank you.
Thank you. Look, I've been following you for a minute now. I mean, you had Black Wall Street. I'm seeing wallets. I'm seeing everywhere I look in this space, crypto, your name just pops up. You would be almost the queen of cryptocurrency especially among African Americans.
Well, you know what? My goal is to not impress folks, but just to impress upon them that they have got to get this and they have got to get this ASAP because it is moving with or without us as a community. And we've got to get in immediately and really start to understand the technology. And so that's why, we're just doing our best to make sure that we're getting the word out.
Well, Najah, I hear a lot, brothers and sisters in the community, they need to know what is cryptocurrency. They say, hey, I don't understand it. I just don't get it. What is it? What is it? What is it? Can you give us the A-level explanation on what this is? And then the second part I'd like to say, I even went to some of my banking friends in high places in the banks, and they say, you know what? It's unregulated, so I'm scared of it. What is cryptocurrency?
Let's make that a part two, because I'm going to explain to you why that's so, but I don't want to forget. So please bring up the banks after I explain what it is so I can give you all some insight that people don't talk about. So first and foremost, cryptocurrency. So if we try to understand what cryptocurrency is, we have to understand what money is, how we got to this point that we're at, and then I can help you with that. So throughout history, we have used different things as money. We use cows, chickens, we barter. We used to barter back in the days. So as humans evolved, we really tried to figure out better ways to keep track of who owns what, who has the most, who holds the most wealth, but we've also had to find mediums of exchange. So a medium of exchange is anything that someone is willing to accept for goods and services. Point blank, period. That is what money is. Okay, so when we start talking about that, throughout history, people have used sticks, they've used rocks, they've used flowers, which are tulips. If you look in history, they've used cow skins, they've used all sorts of things as money because, again, people would barter. But then we got a little more sophisticated when we found this gold-looking rock that was in the earth. We call it gold today. We've been using that for 5,000 years. So he who holds the most gold technically is the richest individual. And so gold was used not only to store as a store of value, but we also use gold to buy things. You could barter back in the days using gold. If somebody was selling something, you give them enough gold to cover your tab. So what happened in around 1933 here in our country, in the United States, because the Federal Reserve Bank, and we're going to get back on that bank question in a minute, the Federal Reserve Bank was they formed themselves in 1913. So many of us think when we hear Federal Reserve Bank that it is really a federal entity. It is no more federal than Federal Express that drops your packages off on your doorstep. It is not federal. The Federal Reserve Bank is owned by the families who run not just this country, but the world. That would be your Rockefellers and your Chase and your JP Morgan and your Deutsche Bank and your Fifth Third, depending on where you are, Bank of America, Wells Fargo. Those family grandfathers got together and they formed the Federal Reserve Bank. Their goal was to ensure that every dime, penny, nickel, and quarter moving has to go through their establishment called the Federal Reserve Bank in order to have a monopoly on the wealth in around the world. And they have been very successful thus far. So I'm just trying to bring you all along so you understand where I'm going with this. Then in 1933, our government, our president, made a mandate that all gold, if you were holding gold, no matter what form it was in, whether it was a gold coin, a certificate, the actual bullions, they had to be turned in to the Federal Reserve Bank and or its agents within a 3-week period. And if you did not turn it in, you were going to jail. So that was in 1933. They gave everybody in the United States 3 weeks to turn in their gold. Well, when we turned in our gold in 1933, they had to give us something so that we could still go to the store, so that we could still work with each other and barter and do some of those things. So they started giving us these coins. And I bring this home to our community because we all remember our grandmother with those $50 or those silver dollars that they used to have when we were little. That is because they took folks' gold and they had to give us a medium of exchange. So now fast forward to the last 50 years, we've had these paper dollars called fiat. So fiat is money without any intrinsic value other than what the government says it's worth. So yes, your dollar bill is worth $1 because the government says it's worth $1. But if you do your research and anything I say, fact check it. Do not trust me, verify. Fiat money is only valuable because they tell you it's worth $1. But if you do the research, it's not even really worth $1. It tells you that it's worth today probably about 90 cents, but we still take it as $1 because that's what our government tells us to do. But that fiat dollar originally was backed by gold. And the unfortunate part is nobody even talks about it today. In fact, one of the, I'm not going to put them out because we are talking about LA. You all are in the LA area, but we have one of the mayors that we all know very well who had a conversation with me earlier this year. And he was telling me that he didn't want to get involved in cryptocurrency because it wasn't backed by anything. And I said, well, newsflash, our dollar is not backed by anything either. And he said, yes, it is. It's backed by gold. So if any of the listeners today are here, that mayor does not know, or maybe he knows now because he went to fact check me, our dollar is not backed by gold anymore. The gold that they took back in 1933 and gave to the Federal Reserve bankers, that gold disappeared out of Fort Knox around the 70s, which is why our President Nixon at the time took us off the gold standard. So this fiat dollar has been our medium of exchange for the last 50, 60 years, right? So this fiat dollar then started changing into a way that we transact, which are credit cards. Y'all know the credit card. So that has become the medium of exchange. Then we move from credit cards into the digital space where you're already using digital currency right now. So if you're using Venmo or PayPal or Cash App or Apple Pay, you are already in the digital space technically, but using fiat. So the next evolution of money today is cryptocurrency. So what is cryptocurrency? Cryptocurrency is, I'm going to call it a blanket of different coins. There's over 14,000 coins right now today. 14,000. And Bitcoin is just one of the cryptocurrency blanket. So we understand. But what is this cryptocurrency? Cryptocurrencies are used for all different things. Some of them are used as money, but some of them are used as utilities. Like there's so many different things. So we won't get into that in its totality. I'll help you understand the most important one in my book. And as an ex-financial advisor today, I am not providing any financial advice. This is for educational purposes only. Bitcoin specifically was designed as the new medium of exchange. Remember, I told you it can be anything. Money can be anything that one or another is going to use to accept for goods and services. So Bitcoin specifically was designed as internet money where people can transact from peer to peer without having to go through the banks. Why was that critically important? Because the banks traditionally have monopolized everything. So they dictate who and when, how you can send your money, how much you can pull out at a time. And you know that because when you go to the bank, anything over 10,000, they want to know who you're sending it to, why you're sending it to them, how long you've known them, what your account number is, how you've accessed your account, but it's your hard-earned money. And at the time that this original cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, was implemented, the banks had just started foreclosing on all of our houses because the housing market was falling through. But not only had they taken back that asset, being the house, they were still getting bailouts from the government. So how is it you have the asset that you claim that you're losing money on, but you're still getting the bailout? In conjunction, you have both. And so somebody by the name of Satoshi Nakamoto, we don't know whether it was a man, a lady, a group of people, but they were fed up with what was going on with our banking industry. And they found this fabulous thing that Ms. Rhonda just got finished talking to us about, which was the blockchain. And they utilized it and built this application on top of the blockchain called Bitcoin, which was the killer application that is changing and revolutionizing everything we know today. So cryptocurrency in the broad sense is a group of coins that do all sorts of different things. Bitcoin is one of the cryptocurrencies that specifically deals with money. And we are using this internet money called Bitcoin to do everything from storing up our value to sending money to other countries, which is remittance. We're buying things with it. You can buy airline tickets, you can buy homes, you can do all these things. And so we're trying to educate our community on how critically important it is that you add Bitcoin to your portfolio. So yes, you have dollars, yes, you have gold, yes, you have your 401k, yes, you have your real estate, yes, you have all those things in place. You need to add Bitcoin to your portfolio, specifically Bitcoin, and then we can talk about some of the other cryptocurrencies if you all would like. But the reason why I feel as an ex-financial advisor, not providing financial advice, is because a lot of distractions are going on out there to have you put your money in other places. So when it matters the most, you won't have the actual cryptocurrency that is going to change and revolutionize things in the very near future. So I hope that helps bring people up to speed as to how we got here, the reason it's in place, and its mission, so that you can understand some of the other conversation that we're about to have today.
Thank you so much, Najah. I love that. I always love talking. Like Greg said, I'm a big brain girl, and I love talking to big brain girls, and you are indeed that. You know, I did a Google on you, and I saw some pictures of you when you had long curly hair, and I'm like, that face looks familiar. I have seen her somewhere. So I'm sure we are kindred and just crossing again in this space here.
You know what? When I was doing that, well, I've been an entrepreneur for 25 years, and I've always been in relationship marketing and things like that. And so, I just really had to stop, because I just really had to stop and ask the Most High, like, what is it you want me to do? Because I see our community, I see the hurt, I see the pain, and us just helping a few people get through and really survive, and we need to be thriving. Like, what is it that you want me to do for our people? And I got involved in financial services, which is when you saw, the long curly hair, the suits and the heels and going. And I really was just in financial services, struggling, not financially, but struggling to say, I'm making it. My husband is making it. There's several other financial advisors that are African American that are making it. But what we're giving to our community is not going to close the wealth gap. And as much as you do need life insurance, as much as you do need annuities, and because I'm not saying those things don't work, but those things have not in 150 years helped us close this wealth gap. So there has got to be something else. And I was just asking the Most High, like, what is it? Because this is not it. And the more I dug and dug and dug, I realized, you know what? We are leading our folks down a path that is not good. And I need some help because I just don't see it. I'm working for all these companies, I'm looking at all their products, and they're just not cutting it. And then Bitcoin was introduced to me. And it was introduced to me incorrectly. Well, not the first time. First time it was introduced to me, I was supposed to be mining Bitcoin with some friends of ours who, ironically, now one lives on a boat indefinitely. The other one just put 3,000 square foot on his house, free and clear. So we missed that part. And then the second time I was introduced incorrectly because I got into this for a get rich quick. It was all about getting that Bitcoin and doing these other coins and making a quick hustle and flipping it, doing what we needed to do. And that wound up to be disastrous. And then I thought Bitcoin was this bad thing, and it really wasn't, because it just wasn't explained correctly. So on the third time around, they say the third time is a charm. I got involved with African Americans who were really teaching and educating. And I said, this is it. I'm not going back to traditional finances. This is what is going to help us close the wealth gap. So I'm sorry for cutting you off on that. That's what was going on when you first saw me.
No worries, no worries, and it's so needed. And I'm first of all, I told you at our first time messaging one another, I'm so proud of you. I've been following the work that you've been doing, and I too am all about the community, all about our folks and everything. Like I said, I was an engineer at Xerox while going to school studying film, and when I got out of that, I just became really a community filmmaker and marketer and producing events and working with KJLH and Greg Johnson and just some of everybody, and just getting any information that I thought could help build and improve and change the quality of our life and our life experience. Just getting that information and bringing it back. There were times when I was at Xerox, I would take some of the folks from the community up to Xerox, and we would get in the lab and I would show, hey, this is HTML, this is how you code and everything. So I've always kind of been, about that and everything. And like you too, you're always looking to see how can we close this economic gap, because you see it just spreading. Yes. And me and a friend of mine, and the thing is even though we were at Xerox when all of that was happening, we were, how can I say this? We were so busy building the technology, because we were going from Web 1.0 to 2.0 during that time. We were so busy building the technology that we weren't paying attention that we should be buying into the technology, that we should be investing into it. So a lot of our friends that were there with us at Xerox as engineers as well, they're on boats too, you know what I mean? And they sailed off and they bought into Facebook early on. They bought into Amazon, they bought into Windows and Microsoft and all of those companies very, very early on, and so just scaled with with them and in that whole Web 2.0 transition. Now we're at Web 3.0. I called my friend Michelle, she's still an engineer, and I'm like, girl, we missed that first one, but we're not missing this one, and we're
That's,
going to take a bunch, right? And we're going to
that's,
take a we're not missing this one, and we're
that's
going to, yeah, and so we're looking at us. She's still a developer, and I have the developer background and everything with the marketing. We're looking at the whole landscape. Crypto, I agree with you, crypto is like number one. That is where we can do investments and we can change lives, just overnight, literally. And for me, I know that I started first paying attention to Bitcoin probably about maybe 2008, 2009. I watched the dip, the huge dip, crash and everything. And so that kind of made me apprehensive. And I said, let me watch a little bit more. So I jumped back in right when it was at like 17,000, which was still good, because we're now up to like what, 63, 65 or somewhere like that.
yeah.
So I jumped in then. I also bought, like I was sharing with you before, XRP. I bought that in the dip, just kind of waiting to see what's going to happen with the SEC and the whole court filing with them and Gary Gensler and everything, but I learned that it's important to watch these markets and definitely be an investor. For me, the other thing that I've been looking at too, Najah, is I'm looking at one of the things that I noticed even then and now is that oftentimes the people of color, the communities of color, are on the consumer side of it and not necessarily on the building side. So and just being a former engineer myself, I'm like, okay, where are the developers? You know what I mean? Where are they? Who's building this stuff out and everything? And so what I would love to see, and I know we're going to mainly talk about crypto today because that's all about investments, but I think as this new frontier happens, for me, I have an interest in not just the investing, not just the buying, being able to buy with it, but building it. We need to be, and this already, we need to
Yes.
be building the metaverse. We need to be building the decentralized, automated organizations, which is mind blowing in itself. We need to be building out the NFT space and the marketplaces and all of that stuff and everything. And so that's one of my concerns, is that as we move forward in this and everything, that we are not only on that consumer end and the investment end, but we're building this stuff out. You know what I mean? I like some of the investments that we make to be, we're not just buying into these platforms, but we're buying into it from communities of color, people of color that are building this stuff out.
Yes. And Rhonda, I'm going to just say this. I know we have a show we need to do, but I have to say this because it's really what you said is really, really important. We have to be on all fronts right now because we don't know where it's going and it's moving so quickly. And if we don't take first movers advantage, we're going to be at a disadvantage. And I say that because my husband and my staff and I, actually the last 2 days, have not had so much as an argument as it is them telling me how they feel about the fact that I'm continuously adding things to the plate, instead of just really being focused on one thing. And I don't want to be the jack of all trade and the master of none. But what I realized in this time frame of opportunity, we got to be in the metaverse. We got to build decentralized autonomous organizations. I've got to file those immediately, not being first to market, but to make sure that whatever opportunity comes up, that I'm in a position where I can grab a hold of it and do the thing. And they're like, no more, don't add anything else. And I get it. But when you're in a situation where cryptocurrency, the meta, all these things are changing so quickly. And if you don't have a grassroots foundation, if you don't have that foundational structure, you're going to get left behind trying to figure out, well, you know what? I should have did it when I thought about it. I should have trademarked it when I thought about it. I should have bought the domain when I thought about it. Like all of these things right now have to be working simultaneously. And it's really difficult as a business owner in this space right now to really figure out what you should be spending the most time on, which you traditionally would be normal. But right now, this is not the time. And you are absolutely right, Miss Rhonda. We cannot sit back and think, well, you know what? I should have did that. Because right now you got to just do it and kind of almost jump in the water and figure out how to swim as you get going, because everybody else is moving at light speed.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of the space we're in right now. So I say to you, let's do it, sister. Let's
Yes.
get together.
Right, right.
Let's
I think that, you know what, here in this discussion
Yes.
is very, very great. And I want to just kind of break it down, get really fundamental, because there's probably
yeah.
people who are going to watch this that, they've been hearing about it and everything, but they really don't know. Okay. You have Bitcoin, you have Ethereum, you have XRP, you have all of these different brands. What's the difference?
So I'm gonna let Rhonda tell you about XRP because she's an investor in XRP, so she knows what it's about, right? So Bitcoin was utilized specifically as a medium of exchange, internet money, peer to peer, cut out the banks. I want to send you $10,000 today. I open up my wallet. You give me your QR code. Even on this Zoom, on this, you can show me your QR code, and I can send you that Bitcoin immediately without any intermediaries. So, and there are contracts on Bitcoin, which we won't go into, but it is possible to do a smart contract on Bitcoin. But Ethereum has been the blockchain that everybody is utilizing right now for these different smart contracts. And developers, such as Rhonda just talked about, came up with these fabulous applications. And this one is called Ethereum. Ethereum is being used with the NFTs, the non-fungible tokens. Ethereum is being used for so many different things. There's about to be a new version of Ethereum. So Ethereum is another sort of in our blanket of cryptocurrencies. It's used for smart contracts, different things that need to happen in different ways. And then XRP, she can explain some of the fundamentals of XRP so you get it. But there's coins like Repo Coin. And every time a card gets repossessed, I'm one of the ones. I live in the hood, so I thought repo coin was the coin to get involved in, right? It serves a purpose. It's a utility coin to help these companies build their infrastructure. So you invest in the coin. The coin gives the business owners the opportunity to build their business. Therefore, a company, their valuation is higher, and then their coin is higher. So there's different reasons different coins are in existence. So hope that helped, and maybe Rhonda can shed light on XRP.
Yeah, definitely. So XRP is a ledger, if you will. And then, like Najah said, blockchain is your digital gold. It's kind of looked at as being the replacement of gold, and it's built on scarcity and being released. So many have been made. I think 21 million, I believe, has been made, and so that's going to be released on scarcity, kind of like gold. XRP is built on the Ripple blockchain, and it's a financial ledger. If you will, if you can think of Western Union, if you can think of wiring and transferring monies, and it's efficient in terms of the blockchain's use of energy, can send money in seconds. It is the blockchain of the diaspora. When you live in another country and you have to go abroad and you need to send back money to take care of your family. Right now with Western Union and some of the other money and wire transfers, there's a huge process that takes place of kind of checks and balances, if you will. And it can take 2-3 days to get money to your loved one. Well, with the blockchain and with XRP, they're able to verify in the blockchain within seconds and get that money to, anywhere on the planet, to your loved ones and stuff. And so what's happening with XRP right now is XRP is currently in court, going through a process with the SEC. Our SEC here has determined that XRP is a currency, a securities. So they're kind of going through the whole fight of determining whether or not they're a security. And so of course XRP's fight is we're not a security, we're a crypto-like blockchain. And so they're in that huge battle right now. And Brad Garlinghouse he's the CEO of XRP, is doing a really great job at leading and keeping everyone abreast of that. I bought XRP in the dip when they were doing really well, and was just scaling to be one of the top cryptos in the whole crypto industry. And so when they got hit last year with the whole SEC filing that they were a security and not a crypto, I bought in that dip, and I was able to buy it as low as 12 cents, I believe. I think like 12 cents was the lowest that I was able to get. And I think it's now at about $1.08 or $1.09. But predictions are saying that once they get out of this court case, and it looks like they're going to win, that XRP is going to scale. It's been accepted by the the United Nations, as the ledger of choice for financial banking, and even though they've been in this whole court situation, they've been still cutting a lot of contracts and partnerships with a lot of major national and international banks. Bank of America is one of them as well, and so they're projected to do really well when they get out of this case. The whole world sees them as a crypto ledger for financial transfers and exchange of monies. The only challenge that they have is what's happening here in the U.S. And so do your homework, Google them, read them. I like Najah said, we cannot give you financial advice. I could just speak for my own, that I'm really, really happy that I own that I own some XRP off of the Ripple blockchain. And so that's a take on Ripple. And Najah already shared about the smart contracts and Ethereum, which is, kind of Ethereum, it's coding on the blockchain using it's called Solidity is kind of what they use, and it's coded using what's called ERC, Ethereum request for comments, ERC, I believe. ERC 720 is used for like your crypto, and then ERC 721 is for building out your contracts and agreements. So and so the blockchain stores value. If you create, so say for example, you created an NFT, non-fungible token, and you do it in a format like Snoop Dogg, I believe, has one, and then several people have them. So when you create this art piece that you want to sell in that space, you are storing the value of the ownership in the blockchain. You're not transferring the image per se, but you're transferring the ownership of that value in the blockchain. And so it's really booming right now because you're able to store the value in terms of contracts through the smart contracts on the blockchain. And then for the metaverse, I think we may have mentioned that. So for the metaverse, right now there's two really popular ones, and one is Sandbox and the other one is Decentraland. And so for Sandbox, Snoop Dogg just announced that he has a partnership with them, and he's on that platform. You can Google that and see what a metaverse looks like. And for him, I think he's building out his mansion there, and you're going to be able to do concerts and car shows. And he's just got this whole experience online that you can do in the metaverse. And so that's going to be really, really cool too.
Yes. And so because I am a kindred sister, he told us that we're big brain sisters, right? So we got to stick together. So I want to make sure that people are not confused, because I know it was just a Freudian slip where you were saying that blockchain, there will only be 21 million. She meant to say Bitcoin, there will only
be
21 million. Yes. So
thank you.
There will only be 21 million, which is the scarcity. The blockchain, people can continue to create these blockchains. They can do as many as they want. There's no code or anything that says that people can't create blockchains. In fact, every big box company is putting a different blockchain together right now to just make sure that they are not losing out. So Bitcoin is what is scarce. Bitcoin is what is being called the digital gold. And that's what she was talking about when she said that. I know she said, like I said, I got you, sis.
Cool. Hey, I wanted to ask you too. I'm sorry about that, Greg J. But I just got a text from some folks who are listening in to us, and they texted me as opposed to I don't know if they're putting in the chat or not. But I just got a text from someone saying, "Hey, can you explain to us about decentralization?" So Najah, talk to us a little bit about being decentralized. What is that all about?
So so let's talk about decentralization. Decentralization is something that is not governed by one entity. And so I think that's where Ripple and XRP are having a little bit of a challenge. And I really feel like whatever the ruling for XRP is going to be that for Ethereum as well, because they're going after one coin and not going after another coin that's doing almost not the exact same thing, but has the exact same structure. And so whatever happens with Ripple XRP is going to really dictate what happens with these other cryptocurrencies. But decentralization at its best is Bitcoin. We don't know who created it. They have no way to stop it. They have no way to reel it in except if they buy them all, and they can't buy them all because most of us are holding them in our wallets, and we're not going to give them over to them like they did gold, because even if the president says you got to turn in all your Bitcoin today, like they cannot make us do that because it is decentralized. No one person owns it. There's no company you can go to. There's nobody you can take to court. And that is why there's a huge argument as to if these other coins are decentralized or centralized. Because even though you say you're decentralized, you're showing up in court. That means they know who owns it. They know who put the blockchain together. They know how to stop it. They know how to shut it down. That is not decentralization. Decentralization is a community of people that are regulating a thing and making sure that everything goes exactly like the code said it should. And Bitcoin is argumentative, as an argument. Everybody likes to argue this. Bitcoin is the only coin thus far, the only cryptocurrency thus far that has done every single thing that is set out to do without any issues whatsoever. Everybody else is having all these hiccups and these other issues. And again, it's not to say not to invest in it, but really understand that decentralization is Bitcoin at its core. And a lot of these other decentralized autonomous organizations, those are going to be decentralization. That means all of the community are owning and make the dictation of what happens. Do we go with this logo or do we go with this logo? They get a vote. Everybody votes on that. Do we give this group of people, let's just say this money that we raised, or do we give this group of people? That's decentralized, meaning no one person just says, oh, well, I like homeless people on the street of LA, so that's where the money goes. It is a group of people who make the decision, and there is no one chief in charge. It's a bunch of Indians voting, and the more Indians that vote, that's where what happens in that situation.
Yeah, and it
Right.
and the summer what my sister just said is open source. So
Yeah.
that's kind of
So
how it's open source, whereas to centralization has mainframes, that information is closed source, and they make those decisions and everything. So open source is like Najah just said, it's group decision making in the digital blockchain space. It's removing the middleman. There's going to come a time and through the process of tokenization where instead of Zuckerberg and Facebook having the centralized assets of us, we have our own, and so it's just basically to sum it up in a nutshell, it's open source.
right. So I just want to get a word in here. So what you guys are saying is this is essentially, revolutionary. And I will just say that if people are trying to watch this live right now, we were knocked off because of they said we had a copyright infringement on our theme music that we have been using for about a year that we paid for the license for. So that's telling me that somebody doesn't want us to know this conversation. This is what I've been trying to say. So that's okay. We're going to keep on rolling through and recording it, and then we'll repost it for people to get it, on demand and everything. But
Wow.
I just wanted to point that out. I've been trying to let y'all know that is really kind of interesting how at the beginning we got knocked out. It said a copyright match and is being blocked on Facebook, the metaverse, right, and even now. So what you guys are describing is pure revolution, and then systems aren't really wanting us to know this information. Would you all agree with that?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And yes, sir.
Yes. Yes.
Mhm.
This is
And
why we need ownership in the blockchain.
That is why we need DeFi networks. So we
Yes.
can get on there and say what we need to say and do. And so, yes, and that's why I created my own platform, because it's ridiculous what Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter are doing to suppress information to our specific community. And I can show you my algorithms. You think because I'm everywhere, but I'm not, because they suppress a lot of the stuff that we put out. And it's really sad.
Yeah. We see that on other subject matter that we emanate through this particular platform and on our online radio station. Thus and so, it's really crazy. You can feel it. You're like, hey, they're really trying to silence us there. They suppress us.
Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I
What
have two
what?
things I would love to chat with her about, Greg, if we could talk about. One, I want to talk about that Wall Street wallet, the crypto wallet, so folks will know how to get started in this after they heard all this good information. And then the other thing is I got my email today about the new community that Najah has. I'd love to chat about that as well.
Absolutely, we're gonna get right into it, but I'd love for you all to explain the metaverse to the people. I know you talked about it, but like really the fundamental essence of what that is, if you can describe it.
Rhonda, you want to go first, or
I will let you go first. This is my
well,
first, by the way, Najah, this is my first public conversation ever about blockchain technology.
really?
So thank
Okay.
so
Well,
thank you for this.
oh man,
And
it's a pleasure. I cannot wait to talk to you offline. So we're gonna get to it. So the metaverse, right? So I'm excited about this metaverse. And for those of you that are needing more information, there's a group on Clubhouse called the Black Metaverse. And we're talking and having these conversations every week. It's incredible. But anyway, this young lady named Artsy took me into the metaverse. And so really and there are black metaverses that are being born. We definitely got to support them. But people are in the metaverse. It's just a whole nother reality outside of this world, but inside of this Web3, inside of this computer. And you don't have to speak another language, but like this big brain sister next to me, we need to know a little bit, just the basics, because this new language called computer talk, which is what she was just talking about, solidity and some of these other things. We need to just know the basics. But anyway, in the metaverse, you're able to get inside of the computer and maybe buy your property, build your house, have a concert, do events. People are dating in the metaverse. People are having children in the metaverse. Like, it is a unbelievable situation. And unfortunately, I have both good and bad thoughts about the metaverse because I don't want our folks to get distracted as to what the real is happening. And we do all this stuff in the imaginary world. But what if the imaginary world is really where we're going? And that you need to have that real estate inside of there and you need to have that house built. So you kind of got to get a balance going when you get inside of this metaverse because you can be in there for hours on end and have neglected the things that you need to do in the real world. And so I want to just let everybody know it is a computer program that you literally go inside. If you want to be skinny in the metaverse, girl, my character in the metaverse is nice and skinny. She's toned. She don't have to go to the gym. But in the real world out here, I got to go to the gym today. So in the metaverse, though, you can make it whatever you want. And so you need money inside the metaverse, which is where cryptocurrencies come back into play. So depending on what metaverse you're in, you're going to have to spend your Ethereum, or somebody's asking for Solana, or somebody's asking for any of those other cryptocurrencies to buy a thing. You're going to have to be able to convert your dollars into whatever cryptocurrency you need to buy into the metaverse, to spend time or do whatever you want to do in there. And that's just kind of the basic part of it. And I'll let Ms. Rhonda come on the development side because that part, I am not the one for that.
No, I think you said it in a nutshell, really. The metaverse, I actually just pitched to one of my clients, VIP Records, which is a nostalgic heritage retail music brand, legendary here in Long Beach, is where Snoop Dogg got his start. Did his first music video on the roof there. I mean, and just been supported by everybody from Dr. Dre and Beyonce and Destiny's Child when they first came by, during VIP's day on the corner of MLK and PCH and here in Long Beach was the place to be. You didn't come to the West Coast, especially not going mainstream in your music career without coming to VIP Records. And so I pitched to them about just having a nostalgic experience of VIP records in its heyday and putting that in the metaverse. And so I pictured him. We took a picture, and I said, just picture, in the metaverse, you've got the parking lot. There are concerts that can happen in the parking lot. You host, let's say you host Snoop or someone in the parking lot there at VIP Records here in the metaverse, here I am. I've got my avatar. I want to attend this concert, so I get dressed in the metaverse. Maybe I rock a VIP T-shirt in the metaverse, and so I buy that there. And then now my avatar, along with everybody else, we're on the parking lot and we hanging out, and it's all good. Maybe I walk inside the store there and I can make some purchases. I can do all of this inside of the metaverse.
Yes.
And it was so funny because Calvin Anderson, the owner of VIP, he was, he's been around since the 70s, and so on that corner there for nearly 50 years. And he says, I get it. He says, but you can do all of that in the virtual world, and he was just like, he says, I'm trying to wrap my head around it, but oh my God, And so, but I was able to show him what Snoop did, his demo and everything, and he kind of got it a little bit more. But the metaverse is definitely its own world. I attended they did one for Paris Hilton, a demo for Paris Hilton. I think she had a concert in the metaverse. And so that was my first one that I attended. And so I had the avatar and I got my wardrobe together and rocked out in front of the stage when she and the DJ did her thing. And it was just all in the metaverse. And Najah, just like you said, we have to be careful about that metaverse because you will forget about the real universe.
Yes, the real one. Yes. And I had my first real metaverse experience where I was involved on Friday because I did Afrotech, and I was on the stage with Jack Dorsey, who's the CEO of Twitter and Cash App. And so just getting my avatar together, coming out of my dressing room, walking on the stage, having a seat and having a conversation with Jack Dorsey and Isaiah Jackson, who wrote the book Bitcoin and Black America, was incredible because it's like, man, we literally don't have to do anything else in person because they're hearing me, they're seeing my avatar, and we're really having this conversation. And I'm walking through the conference halls, speaking to people, going to the vendor booths, and I go to the vendor booth and Pepsi is there. And Pepsi's telling us what job openings are there in the real world. But they're talking about it in the metaverse. This is the new way that information is going to be disseminated. This is a new way that folks are going to save money and make millions of money doing it, saving money. And so it's just mind blowing. I met with at least 150 vendors sitting in this seat within an hour in the metaverse at Afrotech. Unbelievable. And so this is just it's the new way. And so I don't know what else to say other than the fact that our community has got to get on. And I'm not saying go in there because Nike's in there now, y'all. Don't go buy no Jordans from Nike on the metaverse because they ripped you off in the real verse and they gonna rip you off in fake in the metaverse too. So and I hate to say that about Nike, but I'm really passionate about the fact that folks buy Jordans and live under the freeway here in Los Angeles. But you can't buy Jordans and live under the freeway in the metaverse. You can't be home in the metaverse. So don't do it. Don't do Dolce & Gabbana. Don't do Gucci. All of these people are coming for you in the metaverse. Yes. You don't need to be trendy in the metaverse. You need to be you, and you need to put on those generic Chuck Taylors that we used to hate to wear when we were kids, and just go on about your business and really figure out how you can be an entrepreneur and not a consumer in the metaverse. And I'm going to say that, and I'm going to let that go.
Yeah, no, you are so right. I mean, I agree with you 100%. And I always tell people, look at all of this stuff and understand it and just see that what's happening is our real world is being put into this digital space. Our experience in terms of going to the store, going to concerts, it's being put into this space. Tangible goal is now being put into, this digital space, digital goal and everything. I mean, our Western Union, instead of you going and sending money through Western Union, eventually you have XRP. So our whole world literally is just kind of being placed into, this digital space and everything. And so I think for my advice to people, and I talk to a lot of leaders and all of that stuff and everything, is really to have a focus on how we can build ecosystems that really change lives. You know what I mean? I'm really big in that fintech space, financial technology. We need that so bad because unfortunately for people of color on this planet, the world hasn't been as good as it should have been to us financially. And so we can use this ecosystem to really change a lot of that and everything. And this is how come we have to be builders of it, even down to our credit systems and all of that. So we literally can use this to change the direction of our own lives and just change the life experience for generations to come and our kids and
Yeah.
our kids if we look at this thing correctly. Like you
Yeah.
said, don't get in there buying Nikes and everything. I know financial advice, I can't give you that, but I'll just say for me, I'm not buying Nikes, I'm buying Bitcoin. And so we need to look at this and say, okay, how can we better our life experience, improve our quality of life experience? How can we take back ownership of a lot of who we are? I'm looking at smart contracts for media content, for distribution and all of that stuff. The whole world, in terms of the ecosystem of the world, has not been as fair to people of color, to communities of colors like they should have been. And so
Yeah.
this is an opportunity for us to take that back and shape the narrative and the directions of our lives and our children's lives.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, yes, yes.
Wow, this is all very fascinating. I was wondering, we didn't really get a chance to dig deep into the whole NFT space. You still want to debut your NFT there, Rhonda Love?
No, well, you know what? In the essence of time, I can do that later. So I'll make the announcement. I created my first NFT, you guys, y'all,
Okay,
and
okay.
I just launched it last night on OpenSea. And so it's
That's
called
great.
she. Thank you. It's called She Thinks. And when you look at the piece, Greg J, when you look at the piece, what do you see?
Oh, you ask me that all the time. You could describe it, but it's it looks like you're a visionary, free. There's a lot of things that I can, as I just vibe on it as a great piece of art.
Yeah, thank you. So that's the first
Mhm.
piece that I just put on there, and you can go to my Facebook page, and I'll give you more information about it. I'm looking at officially launching it, maybe like December 1st. Yeah, so that's the first one. I'm pretty excited about it. It's just, and it's called She Thinks. And for me, the inspiration about that is just speaking to women and saying it's okay to be a big brain girl. It's okay to use your thoughts. My grandmother was a sharecropper, and I remember the stories of her. She would tell me just about how fortunate I was to come up in the time that I'm in, living in a time where I could get a job, because for her back in the day, back then, if you weren't happy at home and you went to you couldn't go back to mom and dad's house. They sent you back. You couldn't go out and get jobs and everything. The jobs were primarily for the men in that day and everything. And so to live in a time where you can think for yourself and you can look at the world from a perspective where you can have impact, it means a lot, and you don't have to reduce and shrink in this world. Be who you are and who you call to be. And so that's a little bit of
Yeah,
the inspiration behind that piece called She Thinks. She's not just thinking about going to the mall. She's not just thinking about her next hairdo. She's not thinking about nails done. She's not thinking about spending 5-6 hours every week getting her hair done and everything. She's thinking about how can she build her brain, develop her brain, shape future. She's thinking globally, and so that's kind of some of the inspirations behind the piece. And then you see butterflies where she's feeling, like Greg said, she's feeling free. And it's got some dope music behind it as well that I think you'll like vibing to. So yeah, so go to my page and I'll share more about that. But I know Najah is such a busy lady, and I value us having her today. I wanted her to talk about that crypto wallet and to talk about her new community.
I'll do it really quick. So the Black Wall Street Wallet, the founder is Hill Harper. You all know Hill Harper. Um, and he's put his blood, sweat, and tears into the Black Wall Street Wallet. And he asked me to join on with him this year as a co-founder, and I was honored because we know in our community that back when the Black Wall Street was thriving, money stayed in the Black community 6, 7 months, 8 months. And now, we're down to the dollar, the black dollar stays in our community 6 to 7 hours at best. We get paid and we go straight down and buy stuff. We're $50.
Yeah,
Price dips, maybe you do 60 instead of that 20. But
yeah,
be patient and understand this is not a race. This is not a race where we're sprinting. This is a slow jog to financial freedom. So just relax.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of fractional ownership is you don't have to buy the whole coin.
Yes.
And still benefit off of its growth. I have some friends that bought Bitcoin when it was $5. And so and they bought quite a bit of it, and they're glad they did, and they're still buying, and they're just doing it in fractions. So
Yes.
that's the other beauty of it too. Greg J, what are we doing now? Should we be wrapping up, or what's going on, sir?
Yeah, we can go ahead and wrap it up, and I'm gonna get in this back end and figure it out, repost this. Thank you guys so much for this great conversation. And Najah, I hope to have you back. Come on, Coffee Conversations with Greg
I
J.
love I love
Just keep on talking it up, letting us know what the Black Wall Street, the financial underground railroad, all of this stuff, the road to financial freedom. You are the North Star for that. And we really, really do appreciate you and love for you to come back and keep sharing the information to the peoples.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you for having me, and thank you so much. It's an honor and a privilege to be amongst great folks, and so I appreciate you.
All right, you got it. Rhonda Love, thank you so much for moderating this exciting discussion. I know you are all things crypto. I know I have to go into the metaverse every now and again to get you out of there.
Pull us out, pull us out. Yes,
Yeah, we're going in to get the information and bringing it back.
yes, yes.
That's what's up. All right, y'all. We know that you gave it a shot to listen to us live, but that's okay. We're going to put it on demand at Beach City Radio, beachcityradio.com, all across our Facebook platforms. Plus, we're going to go ahead and repurpose the audio, put it on our podcast network. You know where you get your favorite podcasts: iHeart, Spotify, Google, Stitcher, Spreaker, just wherever. Just type it in. Coffee Conversations with Greg J. We try to get our money right, y'all. Here it is. Coffee Conversations with Greg J. Remember, love one another. Love one another. Love one another. Peace and blessings.